Hello and welcome to our 5th episode of MEERAcast, Wild Dreamer Productions' very own podcast, telling you everything you need to hear about theatre, drama here in Australia, in New Zealand, and what it takes to bring to life an international stage show like MEERA. I'm George, and I'm joined today by Helen.
Hello. Hi, George. Hi, everybody.
How are you going today?
I'm really wonderful, thank you. I'm feeling great today.
That's awesome. We're actually here. It's your beautiful home on the Gold Coast. We tried doing some recording yesterday, had technical difficulties, but now we're here at your house, and I must say, it is one of the most relaxing places I think I've ever been.
Wow, that's a big call. Thank you.
It is.
Thank
It
you.
is so beautiful and just serene. There's plants everywhere. There's beautiful smells around and beautiful furniture. So
thank you.
Thank you
that's kind of something that's I'm very passionate about is helping people to relax.
I bet. Now, tell us a bit more about yourself. For someone who doesn't know who you are or what you've been up to, who are you?
Right, okay. So, wow, where to start here? It's quite a long timeline, but basically I worked with MEERA last year in the production for most of the time. I was a bit busy at the start of production, so I wasn't able to be involved in the early stages, but was brought in midway and did a lot of the event photography for MEERA then, and also the shots at the opening night, which was unbelievable. So I got to meet so many amazing people, and of course Artie's incredible, so inspiring and such an amazing person in every way. So it's just been a really wonderful experience. So when Artie approached me, I think it was before Christmas 2018, that we may be going, or she may be going international with the show, and would I be interested in doing some work with her? I thought straight away, yes, I'd love to, of course. And then we talked about it a bit more, and so here I am on board, doing all the promotional shots and the event shots in Australia and New Zealand. So
you're the master behind all these amazing, stunning photographs that we've been seeing online.
I'm glad you think so.
I know I'm not the only one either. It is one of the most commented on things that we get is how amazing the photos look, and from everyone involved with MEERA, from those in the community, they're just looking stunning.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me because as I was originally an artist, so all my life involved in art and painting. So to move into photography, which was not a choice, it happened to me. It was an accident that I followed. And so to get to the point where now I can actually use my creativity as an artist more so, I'm really loving it. It's really fantastic.
So you talk about you almost falling into photography as an accident.
Yes.
How did that pan out? Tell us a bit about how that looked.
Okay, so, I, as I said, I'd always been involved in art. I studied fine art throughout my life and been involved in the art community and also theatre in a sort of a strange way, but mostly in painting and things like that. And as an artist, as most people know, it's very hard to do that full time. So you need jobs and you need to get on with your life and husbands, children, old parents, blah, blah, blah. So consequently, the art was something that kind of came and went. And then my mother died in 2001, and I had a massive epiphany about where I needed to go with my life. So I quit all the jobs that I was kind of doing part-time here and there to pay bills and whatever, and threw myself into my painting. And it was a good thing to do because it encouraged me to get myself out there more in a way, because I was originally quite a shy person and very insecure about what I did, of course, as most artists are. And so then I started to get a lot of commission work doing paintings for luxury homes, and I found a little niche there where people would come to me and, I'd discuss with them what they wanted, the colour scheme, blah, blah, blah. It sounds a bit commercial, but I needed to pay the bills. So it was a really good little business that started up. Consequently, my husband bought me a camera to get some key shots for different artworks, so that I could go out, into the world and take photos of things that I wanted to replicate somehow in the paintings or use as a reference. And the photos that I took created an interest from friends and etc. So I decided I'd take some photos of a triathlete friend of mine, and they weren't sporting photos, they were art photos. So it was kind of him posed abstractly with his bike, blah blah blah, against actually my garden wall. And I black and whited them, gave them a really high end look, and he showed them around. He was over the moon, of course. It really sort of enhanced him a bit, but it didn't really look quite like in the photos. But everybody loved the photos, and I got approached to do an exhibition of photos for our local athletes that had achieved amazing things. So we had, I didn't have to do that. Somebody else got all the people together. I just had to go and take the photos and edit them. Then we mounted them in kind of metallic paper and auctioned them for charity. So we had 14 subjects, and I did 2 photos from the collection of each subject. So what's that, 28 images were auctioned off. We made about $5,000 in the auction. I covered my costs, the rest went to the charity. And so that was the start of my photography.
So you had a really art-infused journey through to, like, really founded in a lot of creative kind of fundamentals.
Yeah, never. Photography was the furthest thing from my mind. Yeah. Seriously. I was, I was about 50, I was 50 years old when I picked up the camera.
It's never too late to discover a passion.
Never too late to discover, or for the passion to discover you.
Absolutely.
Since then, I watched once an interview with Steven Spielberg talking about his, journey, which obviously I'm not comparing in any way, but he did say that he believed that our purpose in life chooses us, that we don't choose it, because he said he never intended to be a movie producer or whatever like that. That wasn't part of his original game plan. So I thought, yeah, I get that. We're sort of maybe looking in all the wrong places sometimes for what our purpose is.
And now it seems to have sped you on to amazing things, amazing projects, amazing places.
Yeah.
I know we got to speak to Marianne Infante, one of the cast in the production for this year.
Amazing.
We got to speak to her very recently.
Yes.
And on her Instagram, it's just full of updates about what she's up to, about theatre in New Zealand. But looking through some of your Instagram profiles, you see shots of you up at Everest Base Camp and things like that. Tell us about some of these amazing places that photography has taken you, or your passion has led you to.
Well, that's funny because the photography didn't take me there in a sense. I went there actually on more spiritual quest, which is quite interesting. That's my other big passion, is following yoga, but in particular like a Buddhist path. And so we've been several times to India, Nepal, Tibet, and gone into the culture deeper. Of course, while I'm there, I take a lot of photographs, and when I have some spare time, I do intend to kind of market some of those a little bit, put them out there for sale and type of things, some of the images.
And what is it that makes that type of more landscape photography or that type of photography you've done different to a theatre photography? Or what makes theatre photography different from all other else's? Are there different things you have to consider? Or?
Yeah, very much, yes. I really, landscape's not my high priority as a photographer. I do love it, but I love people. People are my big thing.
Yeah.
Even with the photos that I took last year in Nepal and Tibet, a lot of the images are people, and if it is some kind of architectural or landscape, there's usually a human element that I've got in the photo, because I just, humans have been everywhere, almost, probably.
Yeah.
So, and I think it also gives the perspective of our place in the world, So that's something that I really love to do. The difference for me between doing that and the theatre photography is the theatre photography has got obviously very different lighting expressions, a different dynamic. The other ones that I take, most of them aren't posed, so they're random shots that I've taken, just capturing humanity in whatever way it is. But the theatre ones, obviously, we're looking, or I'm looking, and we are looking. Artie's been wonderful help to me with that, for what to look for in the character, how she wants the character to be portrayed. Fortunately, because I have such an interest in, North India, the Himalayan regions, then, and I've had that all my life, I'm able to draw a little bit on on those kind of experiences, so that at least I've got a feel for what Krishna's like, what the countryside's like,
Yeah,
and that type of thing.
I remember that being one of the biggest things, especially when I was starting out in MEERA way last year, was I was often just selecting some pictures to do for marketing to post online. But then Artie would come in and be like, no, not this one. The hand has to be more this way, and the expression has to be more like this. And these were details that I wasn't even noticing or picking up on, but to her it has to be portrayed that way.
Yes.
And she just has that eye of where she will strike through 7 or 8 images to find the perfect one that represents the vision and the voice of the
well,
show.
that's what we're doing. I'm working in cooperation with Artie, so that Artie will give me a brief on the images. Obviously not all. We've got a standard flow of images which can be used, throughout different advertising and promotional things. But a lot of the more portrait type images, or the more edited images, there's been a plan to those, which is got Artie's influence. So it's Artie's site, my site, and then my ability to create Artie's site. So that's been really a great experience for me, because and it gets back again to my early days with my painting, doing commission work. That being able to get somebody else's idea and materialize it.
Absolutely, and almost imagine and create something from scratch.
That's in someone else's head.
Yeah.
So that's, I've got my version of it, but it may not be the version that someone else has. So when you're working in cooperation with others, you've got to work into that as well. So I'm finding that is really kind of opening up my creativity, opening up my obviously my technical experience, and looking at a bigger picture, which I love to do.
Absolutely. And I know that my jaw absolutely dropped to the floor when I saw some of those first images, like the one of Krishna picking MEERA up out of the water, and some of those really beautiful composite images.
Yes.
How are you creating those? Is it actually like shot in a pond?
No.
Or how is, I saw one maybe in like a cloudy castle. I don't think we got that set rocking, but how are they coming together?
Okay, so it's quite funny. The images are all shot against backdrops, so it's a standard backdrop. So we're using black backdrops, because it's easier for images that aren't going to be taken to that level of editing to be used for other promotional things, so that text, information can be laid over the top without any disturbances. So that's been really good for that. And then when I do take them to the next level, it's so the photo with the water, which did get a lot of feedback, which was really, and that was really quite tricky for me, was to get a photo of a pond or some kind of water that had some kind of movement in it, but not too much, because Artie wanted MEERA to have been drowning, and Krishna lifts her out. So I had to think, what setting am I going to put this in? And I'd considered, somewhere with a creek and trees and whatever. And I thought, that's a bit busy and a bit sort of taking away from the element of the characters, as well as the fact that I didn't know the landscape 100%, because I know that a lot of Rajasthan is desert, and it's not really kind of a lush rainforesty kind of place. So I decided to settle on a background image that was just water. And then I placed Krishna So I took the characters out of the black and white backdrop, masked them, isolated them, and put Krishna in the water. So that worked really well. MEERA, in the drowning MEERA was a little bit trickier, just in terms of trying to make it look a little bit more realistic than, that she'd just been stuck in and comes kind of overlay on it. So it was a little fiddling around here and there. A lot of masks and a lot of layers. Later, we got the drowning MEERA and Krishna saving her.
And it looks beautiful and stunning.
Thank you.
Looks really cool.
Thank you so much.
But we've seen photos from here on Gold Coast and seen them from Auckland. So are you living between the two now? Because I know we definitely have teams split, but it seems amazing photos are coming from both ends. So.
Yeah, I'm going both ways. So Artie and I take off on Thursday morning again to go to New Zealand. So it's an amazing experience for me to be able to travel with what I love to do, and also to meet other wonderful creative people in a different part of the world, what they're doing, and to photograph them. So we've got a busy schedule coming up there, very exciting busy schedule. So looking forward to that. The images, the interesting thing with the images that are going to happen over there is that we have a big shoot, or a couple of big shoots actually, over the weekend, and some of the images will be superimposed with images that were taken here as well, so that there'll be people that are currently missing in both places will be brought together by technology.
Wow, because I know that we definitely have lead characters in Auckland, lead characters in Gold Coast, but we're going to use the power of technology to make it look like they are right in each other's arms. But they're
side by side. Yeah, hopefully.
Wow.
That's the intention. I haven't got there yet, but that's the intention.
So what's happening this weekend? Is there a particular event? Is it just a standard photo shoot, or what's happening this weekend? No,
there's a couple of major things. One of the photo shoots is definitely all of the cast members. So that will be quite a big production. So that will be in costume and against a black backdrop. So I'm taking some equipment with me, some equipment we're hiring there to get the right look. And then we have a massive evening, which the Mayor of Auckland is attending. Some of the characters will be in costume, appearing, and the others will be in black tie and evening dress. So that will be, there I'll be doing capturing as it happens. So event style photography, which I do a lot of in my everyday work. My bread and butter work is a lot of event photography.
So you touched on briefly the equipment that you use. For all of those that are a bit of gearheads and love that kind of thing, what do you normally shoot on for me? Do you have a standard camera that you normally go to?
Yeah. I've got a few cameras that I usually use. They're actually getting quite old nowadays compared to what's out at the moment. But at $4,000 a camera, I'm holding back, or $5,000, or go up. Let's go up even higher. So I've got a Nikon. I use all Nikon cameras, which I started with over 10 years now. So I need to stick with those because of the cost of lenses, etc. And I love it. I absolutely love them. I know them really, really well. So I have an 810, a D810, a D800, an old D700, which I use as a backup. A couple of flash units, which I use. And then my major go-to lens is a 24-70 zoom, which I find for event photography is absolutely amazing. I also use it at times in studio shoots, depending. And I also use a 180 prime lens, which is unbelievably brilliant for very close-up portraits. Very, very beautiful images come out from that lens. I also have a, just thinking what it is now.
So much gear.
I know, there's another portrait lens, which I can't remember what it is offhand, but it's a basic portrait lens. I can't remember what it is. I'm not really a tech head. So people say to me, what aperture, what shutter, what this, what that did you do? And I'm like, I have no idea.
I just went with what looked beautiful.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I'm pretty much an instinctive photographer, not a technical photographer. So...
You're a lot of self-taught? in what you do?
I did do a course. I did a year-long course with photography. So I did get a certificate, blah, blah, blah. But I kind of ran ahead of the course because the course was going too slow and it was too technical for me because I'm an artist.
Yeah.
So the technical stuff I found incredibly boring, and I found I could take photos without all that. So I just run with the instinct of what I think works. I like to take my photos on the dark side so that they're underexposed, and that allows me a lot of information if I need to lighten them to whatever degree. If you take photos overexposed, you cannot usually retrieve the information. There's information lost in the photo that you may never get back. So, so all my raw photos are quite dark. And then I like to work from. So once again, that's that oil painting coming up because oil painting's dark to light. So, as I'm kind of take photos like I paint. Yes.
Of course.
I've never thought about that before, but that's true.
And do you have like a guiding like principle or that you stick to with photography, or if there was say someone who was wanting to get into photography, you would say like some hot tips for them? What would be your stance or perspective on that?
Okay. Well, I think you have to be absolutely fearless. So if you want to get into photography, which I proved you can do with very little background in it, is if you really want to do it, then you need to just go out there and do it, take photos of all sorts of things, get to know your camera really well. You can do a course, but there's nothing like just getting out there and shooting the photos. It's not like the old days where you have to worry about the cost of, film and whatever. Just delete them if they're rubbish. Don't be afraid. I've found that people I know that are interested in photography, my son included, he's quite a good photographer, but he's scared of doing they're scared of doing not very good photos. So don't be scared of whatever comes out, because that's how you're going to learn how to adjust your settings, how to adjust, and don't be scared to take your settings to their limits. So that obviously not if someone's paying, but as in early days,
experiment.
And I did a lot of the early days. The first few years, most of what I did was free. So I would put on social media, who would like to have complimentary family shoot, blah blah blah, and then I would go and do the photos. And those people, some of those people that 10 years ago I did complimentary family shoots, are still hiring me today to update the photos of their children, which is really lovely.
Of course, because I know that it is. I know a lot of people that love and want to get into photography just have no idea where to start. But I think that's absolutely right. So just go out and start taking photos. Everyone has even a phone that can store them. So
exactly,
a lot of people might not know that even some of our videos that we did last year for MEERA were shot on an iPhone.
Yes.
So it goes to show that you don't need
all the expensive
equipment.
You don't need expensive equipment. I started with a quite of an entry-level camera. Actually, there's a funny story. I don't want to bore everybody, but it's quite a funny story. When I first started taking the photos, and I worked part-time in a restaurant. I showed, the chef and the owner of the restaurant the photos, which had got good feedback on social media and through friends and stuff. They loved the photos. And then the owner said something to me, which was probably the best thing anybody could have ever said. He said, "You can't do anything with those photos. You know that they're not good for anything." And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, "Oh, you need a real camera, and it's not just about getting a real camera. You need to know what you're doing."
You were like, "Thanks."
And I said, "Thank you very much." I'll tell you what I said in my head. But within a week, I bought, at that stage, it was a Nikon D3100, which was an entry-level DSLR. And I went out the next day down to the waterfront near where we live and started taking sunrise shots with that camera. No, I'd never touched a DSLR before. So that's what I'm saying. Whatever you're doing, whether it be a phone, an iPad, a pocket camera, whatever, just get out there and start doing it. And don't worry about the technicalities.
I think that is a very common trait with people who are involved in the arts, is especially when someone tells you can't do something or knocks you back, that it is almost filling up that meter if you want to prove them wrong.
That's what I needed.
And step
I still live off what he said.
Absolutely. And it is what keeps us improving and
Yeah.
proving to people that you are better than what some people might think or,
Yes.
or think is possible.
Or thought that what your potential was at that stage, that was the limit on what they thought you were capable of.
Absolutely.
So,
I know
yeah.
that was something that MEERA got at the start before we'd had
Yes.
our first show. Whereas there was a lot of hesitation as to if it was actually going to come about. And now here we are 18 months later, taking the show internationally. And
I remember Artie saying if sometimes the knockers are the biggest driving force behind what you want to achieve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But obviously with MEERA coming up this year, will you be attending the show? I'm assuming you'll be capturing more photos of the night. Will you be bringing anyone else to the show as well?
Okay, well, we haven't actually talked about it in depth, but yes, I'll definitely be there at all of the shows taking photos. So we have a media wall, which we'll have a media wall this weekend as well. I've seen the media. Well, I haven't seen it in the flesh. I've seen a photo of it.
Amazing. And that's similar to the one we had, a huge canvas.
Yes, huge canvas, so people will stand in front of that, and I'll take photos of them. I'm taking my own mobile studio.
Just quickly, I know that was like one of the most hotly anticipated places at the show last year was that media wall and getting a photo in front of it with the cast. So I'm excited that we have another one of those.
I know. So that's what we've got, and so that's going to happen this weekend to start with, and then that will be at all of the shows. So the 6 shows, I will be doing event photography and doing the media wall. We will be looking at having other photographers to assist, because it's going to be a lot of work to cover the production behind the stage, the production, and also cover the crowd.
Yeah, because I remember we had about 3 or 4 videographers just on the one night. I was just capturing the vibe.
That's right. Well, we had 3 photographers here on opening night. So there was my husband was there helping, and myself and Maria. So it was really good, and we got enough to cover everything. So I'd say we'd probably need to at least 2 more photographers to position, because once somebody's backstage, you can't run backwards and forwards, which you understand and you know. Is a one-way street with theatre. So once you're out the front, you're out the front, and once you're behind, you don't go out the front, or you won't get back in
until the wheels stop rolling.
Until the wheels stop rolling, exactly. So there needs to be somebody placed in different positions to cover that. But I'm very much looking forward to it. Yeah, but no, we'll be getting someone from over there.
Now, with all of the photos that you've taken over the last 18 months or so, is there one shot that sticks out in your brain as just your favourite photo that you've taken for MEERA?
Oh wow! There's some in the computer that I haven't even edited yet that I love. There's so many photos. Currently, the photo, I think, for me personally, the photo of Artie, the solo shot where it's quite heavily photoshopped in terms of background and colour and everything, but it's quite reddish, and that was originally taken in a forest over near the ocean. So, and then it was put in a scene with actually has MEERA's palace, the original Mirabelle's palace is superimposed in it. And what else is in it? I think there's fabric.
Yeah, it's like that tingy red one, the deep red.
Yes, there's fabric from costumes from the previous MEERA, which I took some fabric of those and put them in it, and just kind of gave that. She just had this intense look, which I really loved, and I also loved one of the first ones, which I think why I picked it was the desert scene with her hair, and she's a little bit crazy, that's one of my favourites. But it's the expressions. It's not what I've done with her. I love the expression, and then that's what I like to work with.
Yeah, I agree. And for anyone who is listening to this on YouTube, we will definitely be popping those pictures in so you can actually see them along with our description as well, because they are just photos that can't be missed. They're so
Thank you, George. That's lovely.
But I must say thank you so much for your time today. It has been great to hear your story and your perspective and your involvement from MEERA right from the very start. You're one of our OG original team MEERAs, and we are so blessed.
It's amazing to be able to be involved with everybody, and it's like a family. It's really like a family, and I just love everybody. It's fantastic.
We are.
It's
And
really good fun.
we can't wait for you to capture it and tell more of these amazing stories from the team. But you can catch all of Helen's work. The best place to catch it is on our social media profiles. You head to our Facebook or Instagram, it's under MEERA the Production. Or of course you can head to our website as well, which is just under wilddreamerproductions.com, and you can see all of Helen's amazing photos and everything else that the team has been up to. And not to forget that we have our tickets available now. They're actually on an early discount for any early bird special people who would like to jump on that. We have tickets available for the upcoming show at the end of this May and June at ASB Waterfront Theatre in Auckland. So, Helen, once again, thank you.
Thank you so much, George. Thank you, and bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you so much, Helen. Talk to you soon.
Bye.